Good evening and welcome to another in our Navigating Life sessions. The Navigating Life series is an outreach program of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. We make these sessions available along with our grief therapy session. The last Saturday in the month, we have our grief therapy session. And then the first Saturday in each month, we have a Navigating Life session. These Navigating Life sessions are made available, live streaming, so you can access them on YouTube at Simply Christians with an SJA, Simply Christians JA on YouTube to access recordings of these Navigating Life series. Because of confidentiality issues and the challenges that people are going through in grief, we do not record the grief therapy sessions. So I'm Trevor Smith, and I will be your primary facilitator this evening. With me is counseling psychologist Andre Allen Casey. Work commercial. Before we start, just want to invite you to our worship services. We worship at 77 Reddy's Road, and we start at 9 a.m., after which we have Bible classes for all ages. And then on Tuesday evenings at 6:30, we use the very same YouTube Zoom link that you're using today to access our Bible class. Very engaging sessions. So that's it, Tuesdays, 6:30 Bible class. And we worship at 77 Red Ladies Road at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. Having said that, I'm then going to move right into today's session. Right. And if I can find. Right. So, there we go. So today, some of you might be wondering, what is this about? Everyday anti-fragility, thriving in challenging times. What is anti-fragility? It's a question that anybody could know, would want to know. So let me, before I get into the slides, and I, have information that we want to share with you, let us look at a practical example. We just had Hurricane Beryl, right? So an evaluation of the nations, or let us say the utility companies' level of resilience would be how quickly they could restore power to users. Yeah, so that's if they did it quickly, we could say that resilience is built into our utility companies. But let's just talk about electricity for a while, okay? So that's something that we have been striving for, especially if you look at COVID. This whole idea of resilience has picked up since we had the pandemic, where people are saying, how quickly can we recover from a bad situation? That's resilience. And so organizations are talking a lot more now about resilience and building resilience. I have even someone close to me who is working on a project to build resilience into children, help children to be more resilient. Those are powerful things, and nothing is to be said against that? All right. Here's this distinction now. Where anti-fragility would come in, if you go back to the burial situation, is, let us say it was an even more powerful storm. And not only the South Coast that, had this big problem, but everybody, New Kingston and everywhere, people were screaming to say they didn't have power, because everything was down and down for a long time. That catastrophe, that disaster, or that level of disaster would be so compelling that it might prompt the country to say, something, this idea of having, poles and having wires up there that, can be blown down doesn't make sense. Let us invest and go underground. In which case, what you would have then out of the crisis would be a much more powerful, safer, more resilient, if you want to call it there, power, delivery system. That's the idea of antifragility. It's not just resilience, it's going beyond. So looking at the screen, and the guy who is behind this is Taleb, Nassim Nicholas Taleb. He's the one who wrote the book that is sparking all of this. And one of the quotes, which I have unpacked and understood a little bit better so that I can, have a better grasp and to be able to share, because it really encapsulates what antifragility is. It says the wind extinguishes a candle and energizes fire. What does that mean? Okay, the idea here is that the wind are the crises in life. That's the volatility. That's the issue that we have. The candle represents frailty. That's basically what it is. Is that if we look at how easily it is to put out a candle and make it non-functional, a simple gust of wind could do that. All right. If we take the fire now, if you look at all of the crises that we're having with forest fires, burning down, entire neighborhoods, is that the fire actually gets stronger in the face of the wind. So that's the idea of antifragility, is that when the crisis comes, it helps you, it forces. That's a distinction also that I'm coming closer to, that whereas resilience is intentional. In other words, we've set out and we decide, okay, we're going to fix this. We're going to get across this problem. So it's an intentional action. When it comes to antifragility, it's sometimes forced upon us. That the crisis is there, and out of that, it forces a response. Yes. So that's a distinction there. All of the wires are down. We therefore need to look at a solution that helps us then to do better or be stronger afterwards. That's the whole idea. So the idea of anti-fragility is that you're going to get to a place where you are stronger as a result of the challenges that you meet. Yeah? You grow, you get better at it, at whatever it is that we have. So that's the preview. And by the way, this session is open for discourse. We can ask questions, share. Definitely, there's a period of time we want to look at situations and ask for you to participate. So basically, the agenda is we want to understand the concept a little bit better. I've started out by giving you these examples, and I want to further this course now as to separate antifragility from resilience, and from simple fragility, the candle blowing out. All right. What I would look definitely, and this is where I need for you to come in, is to look at everyday examples in this life, in the scriptures, everywhere. All right. And then some solutions. We like in the NavNice series to look at solutions. Yeah. So we want to look at how can we develop an anti-fragile mindset. Yes. What are some practical strategies that we can adopt to thrive in challenging times? Hopefully, that agenda is meaningful for you, and that you will get value from the time we spend together. So, any questions or comments thus far? With my mouth, we're put into action what I just said, which is to invite you to participate. Any comments? Brother Andre, you want to share anything at this time, or we want to just go forward?
Go forward. I'm learning.
All right. So, a basic definition. I'm going to give it a short one, and then we're going to go through it. I'm just going to read it because, you know, I'm not adding anything to it. So, antifragility is the ability to grow stronger in the face of stress and volatility. Yeah. So, antifragility is beyond resilience or robustness. That's what we just shared a while ago, to say, not only are we going to fix this problem, but we're going to be much stronger as a result of the problem. So the resilient resists shocks and stays the same. The anti-fragile gets better. So this property is behind everything that has changed with time. So in other words, basically, if we look back at history, look at life as we know it, we can see anti-fragility in practice. Question of evolution, the question of cultural change, the question of ideas. Yes? So at some point in time, there was the idea of computing. That has gone and gone and gone until we now have AI. That's what we're talking about. You know, out of situations, things develop. So we can see crises that people have. Maybe they overthrow a government. Maybe they change a political, you know, vote out of government because things have got so bad. Those are some of the things. We talk about the technology innovation. So those are examples like this one, good recipes. Yes. All right, no, I'm going to talk about my cooking things. I'm not sure how far I have progressed, but things have improved, you know, from how we prepare our meals. Get better and better. Maybe one day we burn the rice, yeah? And so we know now that, you know, we need to add so much water, we need to watch it, etc. Those are some of the things that can come from the crises, and we get better. And maybe we know, whatever this cooking thing, we just eat out from now on. I like this one, the bacterial resistance, that over time we are living in a situation and we develop immunity. In some extent, that was one of the ideas of the herd immunity with COVID. So those are examples then of anti-fragility. So there's uncertainty, there's disorder, there are stresses, and it is out of that better comes. Better comes out of what was bad. Make sense? So, all right, let me give you a graphical example of the difference. So fragility would be a glass. Glass shatters, it's done, broken. Yes? Anybody saw the story of a boy who went to the museum and broke a vase that was, I don't know how many hundreds or of years old. And then they invited him back. So, okay, fine. That's done. Resilience is sort of bouncing back. That's it. That's the ball. You can squeeze it and it comes back up. Or if anybody had a rubber duck, you know, you squeeze the ducky and it goes in, squeak, 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 but it comes back out. That's resilience. And that's a powerful competence to have. Antifragility now is different. What it is like going to the gym and developing muscles. You're not intentionally thinking of you know, or causing the muscles to develop, but by putting them under pressure, you actually help them to function better, and overall health then results. Hope this is going somewhere. If not, stop me. All right. So here are some examples. Again, just drawing from nature primarily. The immune system, right? That's what a vaccine is, by the way. It gives you a little bit of the germ that you want to overcome, and then the body works on it and gets stronger. Yeah. So also, wish more I was able to accept this a little bit more, to learn from the mistakes, man. Yeah. That's part of it as well. It makes us wiser. Yeah. When we make all of these errors, we know that that's not the way to go. So we become wiser, and we can actually not have to go through the same error, but we can actually draw from that to say, okay, fine. When something like this happens again, I know how best to deal with it. And of course, we see the technology, we mentioned that you have constant upgrades. And for example, if there's a crash or if somebody, you know, does something, put some virus in there, then we develop antivirus. And so the system becomes stronger overall. That's the idea behind it. So let's go a little further before we look at some of our examples that we want to talk about. So what is this anti-fragile mindset then? One of them is, we know for a fact that certainty is not given to us. So we cannot accurately always say what's going to happen. So uncertainty is a reality for us. Part of the anti-fragile mindset then is to anticipate, is to expect that something is going to happen that we didn't plan for. I know some of us are really very detailed in our planning, and we really get uncomfortable when things don't go exactly the way that we want it to go. I'm suggesting that with an anti-fragile mindset, you should allow for the unpredictable, not to catch you by surprise, put it this way. Yeah. And that is beyond resilience. It's really an understanding that, yes, I've done all of the planning, I have all of this, but something is likely to happen. And one of the things that is suggested is that there should be plan A, B, C's, and D's. Yeah. Even no matter how sure you are that this is going to take place, have some alternative plans. And there's another discourse, is to build redundancy into things. In other words, don't have any single point of failure. In other, what am I saying? What does that? Let me see if I can explain that in a better way. Let us say, okay, securing your home, etc. You might have a door, put a lock on it, but if somebody were to just kick down the door, they could be inside. So maybe what you need to do then is to put a grill behind that. And you know, it depends on where you live, etc. You might want to put some furniture behind the grill so that it's not so easy to push down. That's what I'm saying to you. So do not just have a single point of failure where if that is breached, there's a problem. Yeah. So that's the idea behind working towards working with uncertainty. And the suggestion then also is that you need to be flexible, open to change, that readiness, that sort of living on the ball of your feet if you want, ready to move in any direction. You're not going to be blown over by any development because yeah, that's how life is. Yeah. And your thing then is to quickly understand what it is and to find solutions as against a woe is me mindset where I say, oh no, how could this? I did everything, you know, right. Why is this happening to me? And then the other thing would be, right, so these are almost like steps, is then you want to learn from them. How can we improve on the situation? Yeah. Pause, comments, suggestions, not leaving anybody behind. And I also want to invite some of your insights. If you want to share, I would be happy to have you on board. Any questions, comments?
Brother Smith,
Yes, Sister Smith. I think
we have learned over the years, and I've had that experience, that out of adversity comes opportunities, and we always learn lessons from our mistakes. Is this anti-fragility a newfangled way of saying the same thing? Or I don't know if I'm missing something, because over the years, you know, we know opportunities come out of adversity. When one door closes, another opens.
no, well,
I'm just trying to understand what the anti-fragility, if it's any different from what we have learned over the years.
it's well, it's also, I suppose the way to answer it is basically the concept is the same. The distinction that I would make is that there is now a body of knowledge around it that goes further than to say, okay, fine, I have an adversity, so therefore, you know, I must see it. That is just one aspect, if you will, of anti-fragility. What is the same basic idea? The idea is that something happens, and out of that something happening, there is significant improvement. That's the difference, and it goes into greater depths in terms of looking at different aspects of it. So yeah, basically the same idea. Yeah. So thank you for breaking it down. Yeah.
Can I add something?
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. Well, that it is yes the improvement, but it is the and that's why I love the word continuous improvement, which is a part of the anti-fragility interpretation for me. It is the continuous improvement. I like all three words. Where, you know, so somebody might even say, hey, you know what is true? Yeah, out of adversity comes opportunity, but they might have a cavalier response to that. What I like about this anti-fragility mindset, and there's a deliberate course of action going forward. And not only a deliberate course of action going forward, it is not just to wait for something, for another downfall in order to rise. No, it is the fact that I am putting things in place. You know, hence the third one, continuous improvement. I am looking for ways to learn from the challenges that I experienced earlier, that I'm learning from. And that's the slight little difference I see with anti-fragility versus what the wonderful example that Sister Smith mentioned.
Yeah, that's yeah. What you raise is a key component
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the part of the difference is, as you say, is the idea that the outcome at the end is a marked improvement. And one of the things that I want to share is that in some instances, like the candle, adversity comes and people crumble. Yes. So, you lose your job and they never recover from that. So, you get an illness, and the family falls apart. So there are situations where adversity comes and not everybody seizes up, the time to see this as an opportunity. And so, so yeah, individuals who see the adversity as an opportunity are anti-fragile. They have that mindset going for them as well. So, we can develop on that. But there are many, I don't want to say whether it's the majority or not, but many people crumble under the crises. So they do not have it. So that's part of what people do. They look at areas for development. This is what the author would have done here, is to say, hey, we are here pushing resilience, and resilience is great. But after we're going through this and we solve this now. So now St. Elizabeth has power. But next hurricane season they might be down again because we're putting back up the same poles. Yeah. So that's the difference in a sense. Yeah. Yeah. It is, are we just solving this problem, or are we moving the whole thing forward in a different way? Are we moving to another level altogether? That's what it is. So thanks, Sister Smith. Definitely people who seize opportunities from crises are anti-fragile. They have that mindset and they are well aware, ahead of the park. Not everybody is so blessed. All right. So let's one of the reasons why I am going through this is that, I just had a sermon about departure lounge. So yeah, we're just here for a limited time. So basically we need to find ways that we can grow from our challenges and thrive and not just survive. So that is the other little distinction as well. So that resilience is more like a survival move. Antifragility is more like improvement. Yeah. Okay. So just get rid of some of this so that at least people can be on board to say, yeah, okay, this is something that I'd like to do, and then get into some practical work. So the benefits, personal growth. Those persons that Sister Smith spoke about, those persons who say, okay, fine, all right, you follow me? I don't know if Brother Gwendolyn is on that, but he taught the story so much that I think I can feel it to say that he gets tired from cable wireless. And it's the best thing that ever happened in his life. That's where he went and started his business. So that's it. Yeah. I remember working at a company, and I was looking at it and I'm saying, everybody that they seem to do better. So, but it's not for everybody. Yeah. So we could actually look then at crises and to say, well, okay, fine. From this crisis, I'm going to learn. I'm going to develop some new skills, some new coping mechanisms. And so I will be stronger. Yeah. It might not be the same crisis, but I am going to be at another level. So that's part of what this idea of being open to the concept of anti-fragility makes a difference. Emotional strength. Yeah. Some people are really challenged with certain stressors. You might look at it and say, is that a problem? Why is that such a problem for you? But for them, it is huge. Can't get around it. And so one of the things that we could understand then is that if we understand nature, if we understand life in the context of antifragility, is that what is it that I should be learning from this crisis? Yeah. So rather than, falling apart, being extinguished like the candle, how can I get stronger? How can I grow like the fire that is being pushed by the wind and getting stronger and stronger and stronger? Yeah. And you put all of these trees in my way to block me. Well, give me more of these trees, and I'm going to get stronger. And the more barriers you put in me, the more strength that I will develop. That's the fire. That's the idea. Yeah. And then, of course, what was mentioned here then, the idea now of out of this, there must be an opportunity hiding somewhere. I am going to seize these new possibilities. That's the advantage, is that when you have this mindset, when you start to think in these ways, that's what you're looking for. Every time there's an obstacle, there is a way. You're looking for a way because there must be a way. That's the idea. All right. We're gonna do this and then have some practical examples. Yeah. So some of the things that we can do, some of it comes naturally for people. You have some people that are better at problem solving, are just are able to bounce back, not only bounce back, but jump over and be at another level. Not everybody's like that. So one of the things that we would suggest in order to get more flexible and to develop anti-fragility is to step out of your comfort zone more frequently. So whatever it is that is, find uncomfortable, stressful, put yourself deliberately into manageable, stressful situations so that you understand that you can in fact cope, you can in fact manage, and it's not, it's not a death sentence. So that's something that you could do, is to seek challenges, move out of your comfort zone, and do things that are not, that don't come naturally to you, things that you don't want to do. Yeah. And then the other thing now too, when we talk about building optionality, is really diversing your skills. So one of the things that young people, going out of school, going into college, etc., sometimes the parents have ideas that you need to focus on do these things. It's not a bad idea to broaden your skill sets. And if not adults, where it is, broaden your skill sets, learn new things, have a wider palette of skills. Why? Because suppose, you think you're secure in the job, they can't fire you, but you can get fired. But you also have this that you can do. Yes. And you have that you can do. You can fall back on this. That's an idea. So develop some other skills. Maybe you can, learn to bake, or you can learn to sew, or you can learn to do whatever. Just widen the perspective as against a narrow focus. That's something else you can do. And then the third one, reflection. Just look back, spend some time, yeah. Get off of the social media and just spend some time reflecting on what has happened, what you could have learned from that, what are the situations that you have gone through. As you do that, what are the alternatives? If things didn't turn out so right, what could you have done differently? So you're not even waiting for the next crisis then. We're looking for things that have happened and learning from them. So you could even be at a situation where things went well, and you could find out, why did it go well? If I hadn't done that, what could have happened? So that's another approach to having a mindset that's ready when the crisis comes. Yeah. And of course, people. I am suggesting to you that networking, having friends, getting closer to family, whether it is physical family, church family, wherever, have a network around you. The data indicates how much better people cope in life when they have a network. And so find people who can encourage growth. And that's important. Find people who encourage growth. We don't want people around you who every idea comes up, they're giving you some negative, or every crisis in some corner of the world, it's the subject of the conversation. You need to have growth mindset around you. And then the fifth one, not everybody is going to succeed at everything that they do. You're going to have some setbacks. You're going to have illness. You're going to have financial problems. You're going to have interpersonal problems. And where it is where you start to double down now. Go back to the Sister Smith thing. This is where that comes in, right? When you have these failures, how can we turn them into opportunities? That's questions on this seems to be doable. So we're saying step out of your comfort zone. Go ahead.
Yeah, Brother Smith, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I was just looking at number 5, embrace failure and learning from setbacks. One of the things that I was reading about the anti-fragility is that it thrives on mistakes and, from chaos and disorder in order to make, a person much stronger. I just thought of that whole idea of thriving on the setbacks. I mean, it's different from the resilience where you bounce back from an overwhelming situation. But I was trying to work out in my mind how you actually thrive under when you have made all of these different mistakes, all these horrible mistakes, but you see them, you have to embrace them because you can actually turn them into something positive. But I just thought that the word thrive was an interesting word to use, because you are growing from them, but it's as if you like disorder and chaos and the mistakes in order for you to grow stronger. I don't know if I am.
No, you're going to go there. You're going to go there. All right. Okay, cool. All right. So you come at the right point, sister. Let me, as a matter of fact, I'll go back so that I don't distract. So I have some ideas, some things. As we go deeper into this, one of the things that I was thinking of because of the whole concept of the resilience is the whole intentionality, that the purposefulness, that with resilience, you sort of plan and you determine you're going to do it. A distinction, and I was doing some more work on it to find out if I'm correct in that, is that in the anti-fragile situation, it's almost as if you were forced. Yeah. Let us say, or put it that force might be a strong word, but there is that. It's not of your deliberate action necessarily at the start. So let us say, for example, immunity, that we have germs and they give us a vaccine. We're not helping the vaccine and encouraging it and cheering it on. It's just happening that our body is getting stronger. Yeah. So that's a distinction. But let us look at I was preparing for this, I thought of a situation. All right, so I shared. So I said to a friend who had a family member who had migrated. I said, hey, what's happening with so-and-so? He said, well, I didn't know, because she's part of the problem we're having and I'm not talking to her. All right? So that's a family issue that could happen. So let us just focus on a potential situation where you could see in a family problem, right? So sometimes in the family thing, we might have an issue, right? And let us say in that situation, my friend, is that they have this issue and it's annoying and whatever it is. And then somebody might either get somebody like a brother Andre to come in, or maybe one of the persons step forward and say, hey guys, come on, we have blood, let us try and sort this out. And they fix that particular specific issue. Yeah. And they go on, not a problem. So they, in a sense, they're not totally dysfunctional. As a matter of fact, they can be regarded as resilient because they have fixed the problem. Okay, so that's one level. Let's go a little further. Let us say the situation gets so bad, so annoying, that somebody gets so mad that they are saying, you know something, I don't care anymore. Mavis, you see, you, Mavis, is da. And he gets into this person. And the other person is saying, you can't speak about it because you are so. And that happens now where you're thinking, okay, this is my God, the family mashup now. But because of that openness now to speak their mind, a lot of what has been covered up because, I don't want to say this because I don't want to hurt this person. A lot of that comes out, and what it does, it opens up opportunity now for a much stronger family. Because Mavis is, I'm saying to, when Mavis gets back, the person is saying to Mavis, I thought we had got past that a long time ago. I didn't know that you were still having a problem with that. Oh man. And that sort of way, you start to clear the air for things that have been preventing the family from being functional. And arising from that now, people are able to start to call a spade, speak openly, and that then is a stronger family. Does that make sense, what I've just shared? Anybody want to develop on that? Because that to me is an idea of a crisis that forces the family to become anti-fragile. Comments, suggestions?
Right, Smith,
Go ahead.
it is very good.
Yeah.
Is it coming through the same line of expecting the unexpected? And if good come, you clap your hands.
Well, part of it is expecting the unexpected, but it's what happens out of it is that so what if bad comes in that situation? What happens then? You just accept bad?
Work around it.
Huh?
Work around it.
Okay. Yes and no. The idea that I'm getting from anti-fragility is that whatever comes up, and it's usually negative, it's usually crises, usually problems, is that arising from it, it stimulates, it motivates, it forces, it causes an improvement, a significant improvement afterwards. So it's where we end up after the problem. Yes? No? Very good?
Yeah, man, that's good.
All right. Suppose the other party doesn't want to hear about the issue someone asked. So you mean if you have a crisis with, all right, let us look at, because that's what we want to talk about now, some practical interpersonal situations. So the question is, if there's a interpersonal issue between two people, and one person doesn't want to hear about the issue, well, remember, antifragility is not a panacea, it's not solving every problem. Yeah. As we mentioned, sometimes the candle gets blown out and it's just not functional in the dark. So if you have a situation where the conditions for antifragility do not exist, then bad continues. Yes. So I hope that I'm expressing responding properly. But so let us say that is the situation. It might be then that something disastrous might need to happen so that the person recognizes that, okay, fine, maybe I really do need to have a discourse around this issue. Right? So that's not every crisis ends with a positive outcome. Bad things happen. People suffer. Relationship, people get divorced. People have relationship that they are enmity and they don't talk for forever and ever. So this is not a panacea. What we are saying though is that if you have that mindset in a scenario, in a relationship, looking at it from yourself now, just you're not in a relationship, and those are examples that we use, for example, and one party goes astray, put it this way, or does something that you think is not acceptable, and they don't want to talk about it, etc. So the situation might have got to a place where there doesn't seem to be any resolution because the person there's no communication, etc. From your point of view now, how can you use anti-fragility in this? One, you need to learn. Some people are so committed to a relationship that they can't get past it. That they're so committed to this with the person that it's at them forever. They never ever are happy again. Well, no, the anti-fragile thing could be to say, okay, I need to move on. And I'm going to use this to strengthen myself emotionally. Right? So I'm going to be able to move on. I'm going to be able to not have this consume all of my energy. And I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn that I can, in fact, have other relationships and I can, in fact, enter into them fully. But understanding that if this kind of situation comes up, I can handle it better. I also need to go back into the reflection that we talk about to find out what is my role in this? Is there something that I did or could have done differently to have prevented this? So those are some of the things. That is the anti-fragile approach to that kind of situation where it seems hopeless. You have this problem with this individual who is not talking. Yeah, well, instead of stewing over that forever and ever and ever, maybe the anti-fragile thing to do is to say, okay, fine. I have to protect me and I have to move on. And I'm going to learn from this and become stronger from it. And therefore, when I'm, into other relationships, I could be a lot more functional and, happy in the relationships. Brother Andre, life best. Life best.
I think you did very well. But I don't know if I have much to add other than, I'm reminded of an example in the scriptures where Paul says, I'll the more glory in my infirmities. He said, when is it that I'm weak, then am I strong? Yeah. That speaks, and to an extent, I'm saying it. So Paul, I'm kind of backing up with something that Sister Endala shared, and it kind of just put me where Paul says, listen, in my infirmities, look here, since it's going to make me stronger, then this is not something I shy away from, because look at what it is doing to me and doing for me. And so to me, even from a scriptural standpoint, I think I can create a mindset of anti-fragility. Just saying. That's one. And yes, sometimes we have to look at what I think anti-fragility must start with you, the person. It can affect a relationship, maybe even negatively. I said possibly, or the outcome rather might still be negative for the relationship. But look at what the outcome can possibly do for you. And so for me, anti-fragility must begin with you, and how you're not only going to learn, but how you're prepared to adjust and adapt, and at minimum have a mindset and an attitude that says that where you do not have resentment and bitterness and consumed with anger, and you can't function. No, as a matter of fact, you become fragile, if you ask me. Right? But look at, and then you're able to look at the growth that has taken place in you, even because of the resistance of someone else. Even although you would have preferred for it to go in another direction, notwithstanding, look at the growth it has and the development that it has created in you.
Yeah. So that is the way the thing now, the outcome. So it might not be beneficial to that specific relationship with the two, but it could also be, as you say, that your relationship with others markedly improved because you learn from that. You've gotten emotionally stronger, all sorts of positive things come from moving on. So you could actually engage with people. So a lot more relationships and a lot deeper relationships could come from that situation. That's the idea. Yeah. So let us look at another example. Let's talk about health. Right? So let us say you're diagnosed, you have diabetes, let us say, for example. And that could be a crisis situation where you're saying, oh man, I have this, etc. Right? But the anti-fragile approach would be, okay, fine. I'm going to change my entire lifestyle. Yes. In terms of dieting, in terms of exercising, in terms of all of those kind of things. And the outcome is a much stronger, fitter, healthier person. So those are some of the things. The finances, I'm running them off, but I want you to share some of what you might have. Finances, we're looking at, let us say, finances, and there's a crisis. We just make ends meet, and the person might have to be throwing us out because we can't pay the rent. There's a crisis situation. All right. So there's the woe is me. You can go around, you can ask friends to help out, etc. But at the end of the day, an anti-fragile approach could be, first of all, the reflection. Remember, we still need to look back and learn from situations and to see what it is. And then some structural adjustments. Do we have to change where we live, or who we live with, and all of that kind of situation? So, and at the end of that, there could be an outcome where, we're now meeting our ends, making our ends meet, and we might not be in the same environment or in a situation, but at least that stress of having this monthly problem no longer arises. That's the mindset that we are saying, is that instead of putting out fires in a sense. Maybe it's not, that's not as kind, because there are some really good, resilient things that people can do, some actions that you can take to deal with specific situations, and that those are welcome. But what we're saying is there a way to go beyond just fixing this problem to setting up yourself to be generally more resilient, right? So some of the possibilities would be like your career, yeah? You don't know what's happening. How ready are you in case you get a letter to say your services are no longer required? What have you been doing in terms of upgrading your skills, in terms of, just being aware of what's happening around? So those are some of the things, yeah? In terms of our health, here's a thought, yeah? If we went to the doctor, and the doctor said, boy, listen to me. If you don't sort yourself out, I don't know how many weeks or months, I can't tell you exactly that, but you can't continue. What is happening here is not sustainable. You will be surprised to see, if you trust the doctor, how quickly some of the things that we can't do now, whether it is the diet change or the exercise, that's it, same thing would have happened with smoking and so on. But what if we had an anti-fragile mindset to do the reflection, to see that what is happening now is not sustainable, and ourselves then not wait until the disorder comes, until the crisis comes, but take steps to move forward. So that is the other approach to anti-fragility, is to get ahead of the development. Don't just wait until the crisis or the disorder comes, but try to look around us, look at the history, look at what you see around you, and to say, how can I prevent myself from getting there? Yeah. Relationships. This is the other thing. Can we bring ourselves to a place where we are more open now to have tough conversations, where instead of waiting until we decide that we are out of the family now, so we might as well just say what comes to our minds? What if we can get to a place where we can actually just have that kind of frank, open conversation with no animals, no real, vengeance or no, long-term problem. We just want to speak out openly to say, hey, I have a challenge with this, as against keeping it inside, or worse yet, sharing it with your friends, but the person who needs to hear it never hears it. So those are some of the things that can set a platform for anti-fragility. And then finances, those of you who have enough to not put all of it in one basket. Cash plus, what the other one? What was the other name? The other one. So yeah, that's the thing. Some people sold their property to put it in these schemes, use everything. That's part of understanding anti-fragility and getting ahead of it. All right, so I want to just pause here now though and look at some practical areas that might be present, and if we had an anti-fragility mindset, we could address it. Right? It might not be yours, but you might be thinking of a scenario where someone could be in that scenario. Somebody could be having this issue, or there could be this problem. So that we just want to talk about that. If you could share some scenarios like that. I can start off. I can give you one. One of them could be the main breadwinner gets ill, has a chronic illness and maybe is not able to function outside, maybe in bedridden, etc. What could happen in that scenario? Give me. So here's the crisis. This is the main breadwinner. The person has got ill, not only are they not bringing in income, but we have to put money into taking care of their medical expenses. Who among us could share an anti-fragile approach for that family? Have some smart people on. I don't want to have to call in names. But anybody want to share? What could happen here? Give me an anti-fragile approach, mindset, the family who understands anti-fragility. What could be coursing through their minds in this scenario? Anybody? Just jump right on the mic. You don't have to put up your hand. No? Sister Elise, you're into this.
No, I am learning to
Can I invite you to give a thought? Suppose that were to happen. Inbred with that is now ill.
Well, I'm just thinking, I mean, you mentioned a while ago, for instance, the breadwinner who gets ill. I'm
Right,
thinking
that's the one I want to talk about, right? Let's
yes, but I'm just thinking too of a situation where we have had quite a number of them already, where the two parents are killed and the children are left to fend for themselves practically, or they have to depend on relatives to look after them. Or in the case of, you know, a spouse dying and the other spouse is left to, you know, manage and cope with the stresses that, you know, come with all of that. I don't know if that is one where the person now is in a position, or persons, they are now in a position to, it's either going to break them or they are going to develop some sort of resilience and you know, try to overcome the difficulties, either with support, or, you know, they just develop this mindset where they know they have to get over these hurdles.
Right. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So these situations are happening around us as we speak. The idea behind a session like this is to see if we can move people to a place where the first and maybe lasting reaction in some instances is, woe is me, what can I do? And there is a helplessness. There is a sense that we have no agency in this matter. So, you know, we just leave it alone. Yeah, I don't know if you saw on television the interview with the two mothers of the boys who have gone on the street to hustle. You know, and basically the message is, well, okay, I have 6 of them. One of the ladies said she has so many, and the parents of the last 3, the father of the last 3 is in prison. And it's like, what do you want me to do? You know, what do you want me to do? And so these are the boys on the streets hustling. That's the challenge that we have, where you feel that you have no agency, where you feel as if there's nothing you can do. This is just totally out of your control. That's not the anti-fragile mindset. You go back to to some of the scriptures, and yeah, believe you me, going through this, you're shocked at how many examples when you read the scriptures now and can see it from this point of view. Of course, Joseph comes to mind immediately, well, almost left for dead in one case, but sold into slavery. And then there's a difference. But Paul, Andre mentioned some of those as well. Even Moses in some of his the crisis situation and going through the desert experience, etc. At the end of the day, while the persons who left Egypt never got to the promised land, as a nation, they would have learned, or should have learned, and should have come out stronger. Esther, yeah, if she was known to be a Jew, her situation would have been different, but also approaching the king could put her life at risk. Out of that crisis, she actually was able to save her people. So those are examples right there. Job, look at Job, terrible. And at the end, he came out stronger because he maintained his faith. So his faith was stronger. And of course, his physical wealth was greater afterwards. So that's for me anyway, the primary purpose of a discourse like this is to help people to understand that there is agency. Yes, we of the faith believe that that's a big factor in helping us to understand that there is agency. If you have faith in God, then whatever the situation, you cannot approach it with
Mr. Smith.
Of hope. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Sir.
We are dealing with two cases right now up at Jamaica Society for the Blind. A young doctor recently got blind, and a very senior executive. Same thing happened to him. Different circumstances, but both are now blind and trying to cope and adjust to this new reality. The young doctor, all full of promise, ready to fulfill her ambition, and then is now blind. And as I said, a senior executive. Same thing happened, and the family trying to adjust now to this loss of income and to what role he can now play in the family and in society generally. And we are trying to help them now to adjust to this new life. And it's really a challenge. At the same time, of course, we are celebrating the achievements, for example, of Professor Dr. Floyd Morris, who happened to have gone blind many years ago and has fought through this and has been very successful, as you would know. Thank you.
Yeah, that's part of it. So thanks, Peter, for the input. The antifragility, that's where this will come in now, is that does this doctor go into depression in a sense now of saying, my gosh, all of this work, sit down, all of this night, all of this, and get into a situation of being sorry for herself? Or does he seek to be a pathfinder? What is it that someone with my knowledge but is, physically impaired, what is it that I could do? Could I be a pathfinder? Is there somewhere something in the medical field? I don't know what it is, but I need to find that. I need to find that because this has happened to me to give me the opportunity to.
So, Mr. Smith, we are exploring options in telemedicine for her, for example.
Here we go. Yeah. So that's this thinking, and I don't know, our society, I'm not sure even how resilient, let alone how anti-fragile we are as a people.
I have a comment
Go
or a
ahead.
question. Do you think that we have, I don't know, I want to use the word mindset, I think in that, so we're talking about tools and techniques that losing to get. Is it that for us, we must not lose in order for us to get? Or, you know, do we have an anti-losing mindset? So once we have experienced a loss, then bouncing back or learning from it and getting more and achieving more, you know, should be an uphill battle. And learning from it and ensuring that I put things in place that something like this, you know, since Berryland light gone down St. Elizabeth or wherever, then, you know, sometimes going to run poles underneath now. That's a grand idea for me to run the electricity underground now, because if should another barrel come or something worse than a barrel, hey, at least I will not have this issue of things. So I would have resolved that power outage problem. And you know, something else might come, but at least I don't necessarily have that to worry about per se. You know, unless now a flood come and flood that down there. But when I reach that bit across it again too, you know, but at least I tried, I did something. But I guess the question I'm really asking is that we have an anti-loss mindset, which impact whether or not we develop a anti-fragility concept or mindset.
Okay. I'm going to get a stab at it. I think I understand it, and I'm going to give you an example of how I understand it and where I think we are as a people. Take the football, right? So new coach comes. Stadium was full of, you know, more people at the stadium, expecting, you know, things, etc. Okay, fine, we run over Cuba, didn't win. All right, but if we lose 2 or 3 matches, let us see how the stadium will respond. You know, what people will do, and just look at how people will start to give up on the team, etc. All right. So that's part of, to me, is a fragile mindset. Yeah. The fact that we're not there, understanding that the crowd support is an important part of the team trying to win, etc. And then you rally, you know, go up to the West Indies, the same thing. You know, we just give up on it. So instead of trying to find positive things, trying to rally and to encourage, etc., we tend to pull away when there is no immediate success. That to me is my understanding of the country, that we don't continue and push forward when we see, I suppose that's the question that you're asking. When we see loss or, you know, no success, no progress, we throw it out. We keep it up. We stop. And, you know, I mean, I'm an example of that. Is that we need the quick wins, and if we don't get the quick wins, we chuck it in, and that's definitely is not an anti-fragile mindset. Yes. So when the thing come, you know, like you're trying to birthday and you're trying to light the candles, and you know, every time you strike them, it's blown out. What do you do? Say, you know, something, whatever the candles, or do you continue until you get, you know, a lit thing? That's a different thing, you know. Maybe at some point in time, somebody might have to come up with a breeze-free match. That's, you know. So that's the key. Is that mentality? Let me have to check my time. Okay, sort of a new line. All right. It looks as if, because we have some other material to go through, looks as if this might be carried over into next month, because we want to actually do some practical work with it where we look at specific examples, etc. But any comments? Suggestions? Questions?
Brother Smith, just one little question I have about developing the anti-fragile mind. Is it that you the anti-fragile mindset is conditioning itself to expect to expect some of these problems, some of these adversities, and because the outcome is a strengthening of the mind. Is it that you just you try to condition yourself? Because in any case, life has all kinds of things that that's thrown at you, and there are more problems to come. Is it that you condition yourself to expecting these things, but at the same time, you're going to be stronger for for these things to take place?
Yeah, exactly that, Sister Liz. Let me just say that sometimes we have people have a mindset that is, they want everything to go right. They plan things carefully, etc. And when things don't go right, they really get thrown off. And they're not thinking clearly, they panic easily, etc. The key is to understand that life will throw curveballs, life will throw difficulties, and no matter how you plan, no matter how carefully things are organized and how structured you are and how much structure you put in and safety nets you have, believe you, there is a possibility. And so one of the things that we need to look at then is, what is the self-talk that we have? What is it that we do with our minds so that we could be ready? And if you look at the first thing that on the screen there now, is that deliberately, I suppose this won't carry to Bellevue, but I look at that, I actually put myself into those situations where suppose this were to happen, or I can see potential danger. I can see this, and how would you respond? So visualizing situations and seeing how you would cope with them is a powerful way. So you don't have to wait till the situation come up. Suppose you were in that situation, and you could be there by, but by the grace of God, go ahead. So that's part of it. It's not waiting now and suddenly believe that you can be anti-fragile. It is how we train our minds on an ongoing basis to expect the unexpected and to think through how we could respond to the unexpected, to look back at events in our lives or the lives of others and to say, if I were in that situation, or what did I do in that situation in order for it not to go this way or that way? That's what this is about. So it's not just waiting now for an adversity to come up to say, oh, let's seize this opportunity. It is a readiness. That's the difference. People who have an anti-fragile mindset are ready, are much more flexible, ready to actually adjust. That's the mentality. That's the idea of this whole thing is just to get people to a place where we feel we have more agency. We feel we can do something about what is happening around us, other against us throwing it up our hands or just looking to government or just pointing fingers to somebody else. We have crime and everybody pointing finger, why the church not doing more? Why it's just, what about you? What are you doing? That's the situation. What is it that I can do when the unexpected when problems before me, when that challenge comes before me that I have never seen before, what can I do? That's the idea behind it. And I think the more we discuss, that's why I would like to do a follow-up. You know, we actually practically get our hands down into some of the issues that could arise. You know, Mr. Peter talk about it, you know, someone is there that you're just blind, you know, what you do, or an executive, what do you do? But then we have examples. That's the beauty about it. We have the Floyd, you know, Dr. Floyd, who has done this. So we can actually look at it. We can go to the scriptures and we can see people who have come out of dire situations much better, much stronger. Those are some of the things that we could do. Share it with your family, share it with your colleagues at work, because one of the things that this country definitely needs is an anti-fragile mindset, because we have many problems. We're a small island state that is in the hurricane and earthquake zone. Believe me, shocks are a part of our reality. And as a people, we need to understand that. Go ahead. There's somebody opening a mic. Go ahead. Wayne? Wayne, you want to say something?
Oh, sorry about that.
All right, no problem. All right, we're gonna pull down the tent unless anybody wants to have a last word. And then, not sure it is the first Saturday in October, it's the next month, right? But also, if you see value in this, please share the link. It's going to be the same exact Zoom link at 6:30 on the first Saturday in next month. And let us really get our hands into it as to what it means for me on a practical basis. How do we go about using this concept? Nothing totally brand new under the sun. So yes, it is a concept that puts together things that we can understand or we have seen, etc. Not brand new, but as a body of knowledge and as a conceptual framework, it's useful, I find. All right. Thank you very much for lending me your Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and may God bless you. Remember, this is an outreach of the St. Andrew Church of Christ, and we worship at 77 Red Hills Road on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And we have Bible classes for all ages immediately after. And on Tuesdays at 6:30, we have our online and in-house Bible study using the same online link that you have here, and you can access content from the Navigating Life series, as well as our sermons and Bible classes at Simply Christians JA, Simply Christians with an SJA on YouTube. All right. Thanks and good night. May you have blessed and rest of the evening. Okay.